I walked away from my marriage after discovering I was 8 weeks pregnant by her partner. It had been over 3 years since I last spoke to my ex wife. She contacted me last week and asked to talk. We had an hour-long phone call, and the conversation brought this sad and miserable relationship to its final end. This is my story. I found this forum a few weeks ago and have been reading avidly. It has saddened me to read the outpourings of so many broken hearts. I regret to say that it has also brought me some comfort to know I am not alone in my situation. I haven't posted before because what comfort or advice can I offer when my own marriage failed so badly? But after my conversation with my ex last week, I realized there are so many similarities. In all our story as a series of check boxes, and almost all of them are ticked. That's what prompted me to share. We met in Tennessee. I was 22, she was 27. She was in her senior year of nursing school, and I was in my senior year during my military service. We were both working deliveries for a local pizza place to earn extra money. We got along well and became friends, and after a very memorable party one night, things took off. She really pursued me, but I was also attracted to her and more than happy. To reciprocate, when my time in the Army ended, I took her out to dinner and proposed. I was completely in love with her at that point. Our first year of marriage was great. I got along really well with her family, and my family adored her. We did almost everything together. Then, in the second year, things started to change. I was working full time and studying at night, working towards a bachelor's degree in civil engineering. I tried to make the time we spent together special and romantic, but nothing changed the fact that there was much less time. I felt like she was drifting away and losing interest in me, so I dropped out of school. I made the decision that my marriage was more important and told myself I could always come back later. Things didn't really improve. I had learned something about her. She's like a little girl who gets tired of her toys quickly. She gets bored and moves on a new toy. I tried to keep her interested and make things interesting, gifts, holidays, different kinds of romantic connections. It was like bailing water out of a sinking ship. She offered little in the way of help or encouragement. It's exhausting trying to save a relationship when you're doing it alone. Then the cheating behavior began, you know this. Well, protective box on her phone and laptop, more frequent absences from the house, a complete withdrawal from intimacy. Her affection reached zero, and even hugs and kisses from me were met coldly. I've read this so many times in other posts here. It's as if cheaters don't want to cheat on their lover with their spouse. I knew what was going on and was very motivated to catch her. We were living in a state of guilt, but she covered her tracks while I couldn't prove it. I think she noticed I was disengaging from the marriage. All my attempts to initiate affection or even talk to her stopped. After that, she tearfully confessed to an inappropriate relationship with a coworker. She swore it was never physical. She made many promises and apologies. I'd never heard the term before. Truth be told, I dripped some before coming here, but I suspect I was served a hot meal of it with a little blame on others. She wanted to work on us. She wanted counseling for us. I believed her, or at least I chose to believe her. My heart and intellect weren't in a condition to speak. We went to couples therapy for a few weeks. That seemed to make her uncomfortable because the therapist asked very penetrating questions about the inappropriate relationship. I think she suspected, as I did, that there was more to it. She stopped going after 4 sessions, but we seemed to be improving. It was almost as if I had my old wife back. I was very happy and decided to leave all my unproven suspicions behind. This lasted for about 6 months until the cycle started repeating itself. Once again, she ticked all the boxes as before. I confronted her about it twice. She brushed it off as stress on her part or immaturity on some things she loved to throw in my face throughout the relationship because of our age difference. For my part, the intimacy between us stopped as she lost all interest in it and in me. And then it happened. I got home and found her early at home, sitting on our bed crying. I sat down with her and practically begged her to please talk to me. She told me she was pregnant. For a fleeting moment, I was filled with joy. Then my brain suddenly kicked in. I remembered how long it had been since we'd been intimate. I could see it on her face. I asked her how far along she was. 8 weeks. It had been over 4 months since we'd last been intimate. I got up and left the room. She ran after me, looking back and comparing the conversation that followed with the experiences of people in the same subforum. I'm amazed at how all unfaithful spouses say the same things. It was just that one time. It didn't mean anything. I've only ever loved you. Of all the lies they tell, the last one hurts the most. I told her I was going to leave the house and would be back in an hour. Then I'd hear what she had to say. I was shaking, furiously angry, and honestly, it probably wouldn't have ended well for either of us if I'd stayed. I drove to an empty parking lot and cried my heart out. I think I literally, because something inside me broke during that hour, my heart died. She turned to ice and still is to this day. When I got home, I was cold emotionless. I didn't need to act like a gray stone. I had become one, actually. She insisted we could get through this. She saw how happy I was when she first told me. Before I knew it, she was talking about how we wanted to start a family. She threw the innocence of the baby in my face and how he or she would need a father this went on for. Almost 20 minutes while I stared at her in complete and excited silence. Finally, she looked at me and asked me to please say something. I told her I was asking for reconciliation, but almost every word she said was a lie. I told her that if she wants me to even consider it, she needs to start by telling me the truth, her side of the story, since it was the same lover all along, even since last year. It was always just physical. She never loved him. She loved me. He's not interested in having any kind of relationship with her other than physical. Hayes pressuring her to end the pregnancy. She doesn't want a family and she wanted it with me. I told her our marriage is over. It ended a year and a half ago, but I told her to pack what she needed for 3 days and to please leave the house. She refused to leave and kept trying to talk to me. Usually her tears would have broken my resolve, but that night I looked at her and felt nothing. The part of me that loves had died. I went into the guest room and locked the door. Then the next day I spoke with several lawyers and hired one of them. The child's paternity was more than enough proof for a fault-based divorce. I had no desire to wait that long, so we discussed an uncontested divorce. In mediation, when I got home, she really tried to be intimate with me. I was shocked and disgusted. I told her that would never happen again. We agreed on a scheme for the divorce. The biggest asset was our house. Most of our debt was her student loan. I gave up my ownership interest in the house so she could sell it. She was going to keep the baby, and I wanted her to have that money. I wanted nothing more than to walk away freely. In the end, I kept nothing but my Jeep, my military duffel bag full of clothes and some tools and weapons, fire and military memorabilia, mostly things that were mine before we got married. Everything in that house, everything she had touched was simply tainted to me. I wanted nothing from this marriage but to bury it in the past. The divorce was finalized 13 months later. I saw her twice during mediation. We barely spoke. She was very pregnant at the time. I thought it would be hard to see that, but I felt nothing for her, no love, no hate, nothing. She was a stranger. To me, I moved to Florida and got a low-paying but undemanding civil service job. Now I have a very simple life. I bought and renovated a small house on the Gulf Coast. I bought a boat and go fishing almost every weekend. I have very few friends and have hardly ever gone out. Now I have trust issues. I don't really enjoy other people's company. I feel suspicious of women's attention, especially from those. I'm attracted to a 27 now in very good physical shape, and some girls find me attractive, but the idea of having an intimate relationship with someone, trusting them at that level, I don't think I can do that, not for long anyway, in the opposite of the man I used to be in almost every way. All my love is now reserved for a cheerful black Labrador retriever named Stormy. She accompanies me almost everywhere. I'm not exactly happy. It still bothers me when something reminds me of my ex and everything that happened. Sometimes I feel a tremendous and overwhelming sense of loss. I know I haven't lost anything because I didn't really have anything, but I can't help how I feel. The beauty of my job is that I work mostly alone and outdoors, and I can often take my dog with me. If I haven't found happiness in life after the divorce, at least I found peace. I settled for that last week. The past, I thought, I married 2 years ago, called me. I don't know how she got my contact details. It couldn't have been too difficult. I wasn't exactly hiding. We talked for an hour at first. It was friendly, and she made it seem as if she just wanted to know how I was and catch up, but the hidden purpose of the call was to probe me about some kind of reconnection. She gave birth to a healthy baby girl 2 years ago. Paternity was never in doubt because of the timing. The lover wasn't present at the birth and has had little interaction with his daughter. The life of a single mother is difficult, and although she was receiving support from her lover, she apparently had to take him to court because of this. She was alone and unhappy. I told her I was sorry to hear that she was unhappy, but it wasn't my problem. I told her she had broken my heart and it was still broken today. I told her simply that I didn't love her, I couldn't love anyone, and I didn't want anything to do with her. I told her she had made all the decisions for all of us, for her, for me, and for her daughter, but she only left me with one option, and that was to walk away from her. I asked her not to contact me again. The final similarity between all our stories in this sub is this: a selfish person made a selfish decision and damaged the lives of 3 people, one of whom wasn't even born yet. If there's one thing I wish cheaters understood before making a selfish decision, it's that they are hurting everyone around them and possibly everyone around their lover. But if they are already selfish enough to cheat, it's likely don't worry about it. Update 1. A few weeks ago, I posted my story here. In the 3 years since we separated and divorced, I've built a new life for myself. But it's been a lonely life devoid of friendships and trust. After reading and talking with many of you, I realized I shouldn't be giving it so much power over my life. You were right. I thought I was living my new life on my own terms. I wasn't, by remaining closed off and distrustful. I kept making payments on an emotional debt I didn't even owe when I left my ruined marriage behind. I said I wasn't taking anything with me. That wasn't entirely true. I still had my wedding ring. I don't know why I kept it for so long. I stored it in a cigar box with some other mementos I didn't attach any emotional significance to. The ring, but in retrospect, I wonder if its mere presence in my home was draining any positive energy I might have been building the day before yesterday, my dog. Stormy and I went fishing in the Gulf for grouper. December 31st was the last day of the season. On a whim, I took my wedding ring with me and threw it into the Gulf of Mexico. Now it's at the bottom of Swan Sound, about 15 miles west of Langkawi. When that little piece of gold sank beneath the placid blue-green waters of the Gulf, I felt like a huge weight was lifted off my shoulders. Like an anchor, that ring sank that emotional burden to the sandy bottom about 70 feet deep. They were absolutely right. It's not enough to survive infidelity and divorce. It's time to live again. I started dating again, a local girl I met by chance. We went to a party together last night and had a great time. I owe you all a debt. Your comments and private messages made me realize something I didn't even see in myself. For those new to this, who are just starting out, listen to the advice you'll receive in the sub. These people have been where they are now. Don't spend too much time regretting what you think you've lost. That grief is a burden you carry for nothing, the people you carry. If we betrayed you, freedom begins the moment you realize that all you need to do is let it go. It's time to live again. Update 2. For the past 3 years, I have declined to look for any kind of dates or relationships. I finally decided to open myself up to finding love again and started dating. I've been seeing a girl a year younger than me. She's never been married. And things have been going quite well. We've been getting more serious and having conversations about relationships. It was during one of those conversations that she dropped a bombshell. She told me she was very interested in polyamorous relationships and could never be satisfied with just one partner. I hate to admit this, but I needed someone to explain that concept to me. How uninterested or just plain old-fashioned am I? She explained that we could have multiple partners as long as it was only physical, and we always came back to each other for the emotional connection. First of all, I thanked her for being upfront about it. When these kinds of things are kept secret, it's a problem, so kudos to her for her honesty. I told her I was very attracted to her, enjoyed her company, and would be very happy to be one of her partners in the short term. But when it comes to building a relationship, would both be better off looking elsewhere. She said she was really sorry because she really liked me, but she understood it was quite a surreal conversation for me. I'm a dinosaur. There are even those who want faithful men, or the concept is outdated. My wife had an affair, and my next girlfriend wanted to go on a double date with her and another guy, and I was paired with one of her friends. Update 3. Today is my anniversary, not my wedding anniversary. That day goes by unnoticed 3 years ago today. I received the finalization of my divorce. I shared my story in this thread last year. If you want to read it, you can find it on my profile. Someone even put it on YouTube, surprisingly, but the short version is that my once-loved wife, now ex-wife, had an on-again. A fagin year-and-a-half affair that resulted in her becoming pregnant with her lover's child, when the secret could no longer be kept. She told me that it could be our baby and we could raise her together, and a few other things about how sorry she was and that it would never happen again. There could only be one answer to all of that, and today is the 3rd anniversary of my answer. Am okay. It rarely crosses my mind. I'm not sad, nor am I truly happy. The truth is, these days, I'm just okay, I guess. I'm okay. I really can't describe it any other way. And this is the question I'm really struggling with because everyone tells. I'm not. My sister and her best friend came to visit me in Florida before school started. They both attend the University of Memphis this year. I'm really proud of her. They spent 2 days at my house before going to Tampa. We had a chat while they were here, and she said she was worried about me. She's convinced I haven't gotten over everything that happened. She told me I look so different now that she barely recognized me. I'm still the same guy. I told her. She thinks I'm unhappy, but I'm not. I'm fine. Without my knowledge, she and her friend installed a dating app on my phone and looked for dates for me. They started talking to 2 women, then told me about it and insisted I continue the conversations. After they left, I deleted everything. Then I lied to her about it. I feel bad about it, but I really don't want her to worry. I want her to know I'm okay. I'm close friends with my boss and his wife. She tells me it's not good for me to be alone all the time and that I'd be a great catch. She's tried to introduce me to some female friends, but I'm just not interested. So I ended up telling her. And seeing someone, I hate lying about it, and I really appreciate her concern, but I'm fine. I've had two short relationships and one fling since my divorce. In the fling, it turned out the girl was married. I angrily told her clearly what. I thought of her in a relationship, we simply weren't compatible. The other one died from indifference, mostly on my part. I just don't feel comfortable around people in an intimate way. I'm just not interested in a relationship. Maybe I just don't have anything to give. I'm different from how I used to be. I used to be sociable and outgoing now, not so much. It's bad that I've changed. I can still form emotional bonds. I love my sister like crazy. I love my dog. My dog is amazing. She's my best friend, fishing buddy, and partner in crime and everything. She's the best. But in social situations now, I feel so awkward and clumsy. I just want to leave. Is that normal? I don't know. I feel most comfortable on the boat pretty far out in the Gulf, where you lose sight of land under an open sky with nobody for 20 miles in. Any direction, I'm not insensitive. I'm just not emotional. I don't really get angry, sad, or happy. I'm just fine all the time. Maybe that's very different from the old me, but it's bad. There are many people in this sub who have survived infidelity. How are you healthy? People tell you you're not. How could you even know? Betrayal leaves us different. How you found us who you were before won't be who you were after. That doesn't seem difficult to understand, right? The people asking us are worried. About us, I know, and we love them for that, but we're actually fine. Update 4. My divorce became final 4 years ago today. I don't think about it much anymore. I loved my wife. She was the love of my life. I say it now almost automatically. Sometimes I don't even remember what that felt like. Time I can't even imagine. How Lucia was supposed to be, she was the most important person in the world, and now it's only been 41 months since I last saw her, and sometimes I can't even remember her face. The night she told me her terrible secret that she'd been having an affair and was pregnant with his child, I remember that clearly she had rejected all affection towards me for months. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised. The warning signs were there, I knew it, but I wouldn't admit it if posted on Reddit about the events. Leading up to that night and the aftermath before, I didn't really think about it much, and I talk about it even less. But tonight being the 4th anniversary, I guess I'm reliving it. That doesn't sadden me or anything. Maybe I'd be better off if I did. It'd been pretty expressionless since the night of it. It was like the whole world went silent. All the voices and sounds became muffled in my head. Low hum, at the same time, everything became crystal clear to me. The future, the present, the past all became an inexorable succession of events leading to an inevitable conclusion. The wife I loved was gone. The life I had hoped for was lost. It didn't even exist. It was all over and gone, and now it was just a mundane exercise in waiting for the end of the process. I didn't even yell at her. I wasn't even angry. I was just numb. I simply told her it was over and that I was going to file for divorce. 2 weeks later, she was gone. Even now, remembering it doesn't make me angry. No pain, no anguish, no longing. Just nothing. The lesson I take from all this is that the world is an impermanent place. All things pass, even things that seem so important in the moment are just fleeting. Just let them go. Love people. Everything is passing us by, no more than a train at night with us for a brief time, then disappearing into the distance. Don't hold on to what's lost, admit it's lost, and let it go. Holding on to what's gone is vanity and only hurts you. Update 5. I now have a new life in a new state in the United States, and I feel like I'm doing well, but my family and friends keep telling me I might need help because my personality is radically different from the man I used to be. There's some truth to that. I'm aware of it. I used to be happier and more outgoing. Now I simply prefer the company of my dog. I don't cultivate friendships. I haven't been on many dates, and I generally prefer to keep to myself, but I don't feel like there's anything wrong with me. I did go through a traumatic event, yes, but it makes sense that the equilibrium you settle into afterward could be very different from where you were before, right? My sister visited me a few months ago, and after 3 days, she was begging me to get help. So I started individual therapy. Some of the therapist's advice has seemed good to me, but all this seems to be heading towards a black hole. One of the first things she asked me was, when was the last time I felt truly happy? Or sad. I had to think about it for a moment and realized it had been a long time. The last time I really felt any strong emotion was the night my marriage ended. Since then, I'm just fine. After discussing it for a few sessions, she said I had a flatline effect and is referring me to a psychiatrist and a neurologist. She's also talking about psychoactive medications that, according to internet research, have some undesirable side effects and are rather expensive. I have a bad feeling this is getting out of control. She's talking about doctors, hospitals, strong medications, and suddenly I'm thinking maybe it's okay to just be okay. And seriously considering finding another therapist or just forgetting about all this, any advice would be appreciated.